Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Blue Cube YouTube channel. Now that you've learned all of these basics, it's time to move on to the Effect Controls panel. The Effect Controls panel is where we adjust, edit, and animate the properties of any clip that we have selected in the timeline. For example, if I select a video clip, a set of controls will appear in the Effect Controls panel. If I select a text layer instead, you'll see a different set of details. The overall structure of the panel stays the same, but the specific settings change depending on what type of element you've selected. The same thing happens if you select a transition. The Effect Controls panel will change accordingly, and we already talked about transitions in previous lessons. For now, I'm going to select my text from the timeline. On the left side, in the Effect Controls panel, I'll open the Vector Motion section. If you don't see the Effect Controls panel, you can simply go to the Window menu and enable Effect Controls from there. The first parameter here is Position. Using this, you can move the selected text or clip horizontally and vertically. You can also animate this movement if you want. If you ever want to return the element to its original position, just click the Reset button and it will snap back to where it started. Next is Scale. By increasing or decreasing this value, you can make your text or clip larger or smaller. I'll reset it back to the default. If I disable Uniform Scale, I can scale the element independently on the horizontal and vertical axes. You can see that I can stretch it vertically or make it wider or narrower horizontally. I'll click Reset again to bring it back to normal. Most of the time, we keep Uniform Scale enabled so that scaling happens evenly in both directions. After that, we have Rotation, which lets us rotate the selected text or clip. I'll reset that as well. The next parameter is Anchor Point. When you click on it, you'll see the center point of the selected element. We can move this anchor point anywhere we want, and all transformations, like rotation and scale, will happen around this point. Right now, you can see that rotation happens from the center. But if I want the rotation to happen from a different spot, I just move the anchor point there and then adjust the rotation again. This time, the rotation happens around that new point. The same idea applies to scaling. If the anchor point is in a corner, scaling will happen from that corner. If I want to put the anchor point back in its original center position, I can simply click the Reset button for the parameter or reset vector motion entirely, and everything will return to its default state. You can also manually adjust the anchor point using these values. Keep in mind that when you hover over the anchor point, the mouse cursor changes slightly. This lets you know that you can select it and move it. As you've seen, any changes we apply in vector motion affect both the shape and the text together. However, we can also apply changes separately. For example, I can apply transformations only to the text. You can see the text layer listed here. When I click on it, it becomes highlighted in the program monitor with a blue outline. I can open this section and make changes just to the text. For instance, I can adjust the scale here or move it using the position controls. I'll press Ctrl+Z to undo. I can also change the opacity of the text. Again, Ctrl+Z to undo. I can apply these changes specifically to the text layer, or I can change its color from here as well. I'll undo that too. If we want to make changes to any of the shapes, we can open that specific shape layer and apply our adjustments there. I'll undo once more. You can actually do the exact same thing in the Properties panel. By selecting any layer, you can adjust its settings from there as well. I'll close this section for now. One important thing to remember is that we can animate each of these elements separately. For example, let's create a scale animation for the text. First, I'll move the playhead to the beginning. I'll select this transition for now, right-click on it, and choose Clear to remove it. Then I'll select the text again. I'll click on the toggle animation icon next to Scale, the little stopwatch, to create a keyframe. If I zoom in a bit, you can see this keyframe more clearly. The keyframe is now created. I'll move the playhead forward a little. It doesn't matter whether you move the playhead here in the Effect Controls panel or directly in the timeline. I'll move forward slightly and create another keyframe. Now I'll go back to the beginning of the clip and set the scale value to 60. So the text becomes smaller. If I play this back, you'll see that the text gradually scales up. If I increase the distance between the keyframes, let me select one and move it further, the animation becomes slower. I'll play it again so you can see the difference. So this is how easily you can create animations for any parameter available in the Effect Controls panel. For now, I'll select the keyframes and delete them. To disable animation completely, I can click the stopwatch again. When the stopwatch is active, it turns blue. When you turn it off, it goes back to its default state. I'll close this section for now. If you click on any of these layers, you can also toggle their visibility on or off from here. In the opacity section, if I open it, you'll see several shape tools. These are used for masking different elements in the timeline, and will cover masks in a separate lesson. Here, we can also increase or decrease the opacity of the text, and we can animate opacity as well. You'll also see blend mode here, which is used to blend layers together. For example, if I change the blend mode from normal to something like darken, you'll see how the text colors blend with the video underneath. You can try different blend modes and see how each one gives you a different result. I'll switch it back to normal. We also have time remapping here, which is used to change the speed of a video. We'll cover that in detail in a separate lesson. If you select a video clip, you'll see many of these same settings available for it as well. However, video clips also have additional options like crop left, crop top, and so on, which let you crop the image from all four sides. For example, I'll select this clip, and from the left side I can crop the image like this. I'll press Ctrl+Z to undo. To make this clearer, I'll first select the text layers and move them forward in time. Then I'll place this clip on top of the previous one. Now, the clip on the upper track is what I see in the program monitor. I want this top video to gradually disappear from the left side so the video underneath becomes visible. So I'll move the playhead to this point. On crop left, I'll click the stopwatch to create a keyframe. Then I'll move the playhead forward and create another keyframe. At this final frame, I'll increase the crop left value all the way. Now if I play this back, you'll see that the top image slowly wipes away from the left, revealing the clip underneath. You can do this kind of animation with all of these parameters. If I click the stopwatch again, the animation is removed. You can control keyframes from here at the top or from the bottom, both ways work, and using this approach you can create many different effects. Any changes we make in the motion section apply to the clip that is currently selected. We can move it, scale it, rotate it, and adjust all of these settings from the Effect Controls panel. I'll press Ctrl+Z to return everything to its original state. These are all the essential things you need to know about the Effect Controls panel at this stage. If you've been following the lessons up to this point, I'm sure you've made a lot of progress in Adobe Premiere Pro. Great job, and I'll definitely see you in the next video.